Hey guys, one of the coolest things about real estate investing is being able to use other people's money to buy properties that you invest in, and with those investments, you pay them back. Super cool, but people get stuck. They don't know how to raise money. They don't know how to ask for it. They get afraid to ask for it. And so they never raise the money, so they never buy the property. In today's video, my objective is to get you unstuck so that you can go raise some freaking money. Hey guys, if it's your first time here, welcome to the Hoan Zone, where we help you multiply the assets that you own. I'm Hoan. I've been a real estate investor for the last 10 years, and raising private money to buy my deals is one of the strategies that I use to scale up. The thing is, it didn't start that way, and I didn't always know how to ask people for the money. I also didn't have the confidence, right? So I had to build that courage up. Eventually, I came upon this idea that allowed me to get over that hurdle of being afraid of asking for the money. But before I get into that, let me go over why we buy properties with other people's money and how we get to do that because of these certain things, okay? So the three things that you want to look for when you're analyzing a deal is either current equity, future equity, or cash flow. Okay, you're going to be looking for the equity in the property, the future equity that you can create, or the cash flow. And if the deal has one of those things, then you have the opportunity to raise money from other people because you're going to have a way to pay it back. So how did I get into that mindset? How can I help you get into the mindset of raising money? And let's do that by going through an example. Let's pretend like you had a friend who owned a Ferrari, right? And this is like a newer Ferrari, and the friend all of a sudden is having financial problems. They're about to go bankrupt, and they're like, oh my gosh, I need money right now. Or if today is Friday, I need money by Monday, or else something really bad happens in my life. It's like, I'm willing to do anything. I'm even willing to sell my Ferrari. And they say, if you're willing, I'll sell you the Ferrari for $50,000, right? 50,000 bucks. So then you're like, oh, wow. And then you go to the computer and you're like, oh, the Kelley Blue Book says that this Ferrari in this condition is worth $300,000. So the question is, can you find that $50,000 from now until Monday, right? The value is $300,000. The current equity is $250,000. Could you go out and find $50,000, right? If you knew for sure that you already had a buyer willing to buy it for $300,000, could you find the $50,000 that you need? And the answer is probably yes. Even if the friend said, hey, I am willing to sell my $300,000 Ferrari for $150,000. And then you know of a Ferrari buyer and he or she already agreed to buy it for $300,000. Could you find $150,000 in order to buy that Ferrari? And again, the answer is yes. But why? Why is it that all of a sudden you can raise $150,000 for this Ferrari when just a second ago you're like, I don't know if I can raise any money, Hoan? Because of that certainty, right? Because you're actually raising for something. A lot of times when I'm talking about raising money, people theoretically understand it, but they don't have anything that they're working on. So they're very scared to have the conversation with people because they don't have anything to present. They're not like, hey, I got this deal and it's going to be worth this. I just need you to give me the money now. Like they don't have that. So it's all theory. And so they get afraid to have that conversation. But if you had that deal and that certainty in numbers, all of a sudden you become a very different person. Can you see that? Can you start to see that, right? You become a different person based on your circumstances. It's not really like you lack it. It's in there. You just need that right thing to pull it out of you. In this case, it was a Ferrari that had $100,000, $150,000, $250,000 in equity, right? You had this deal in your hand. You could taste it. You're like, yeah, this is going to make me a bunch of money. So now that you have that certainty, or you know that that certainty exists within you. You should be able to have conversations with people, even if you don't have a deal, because what you would say to them is, hey, look, I don't have a deal right now, but I will. And when I do, can I put you down for $100,000? Can I put you down for $200,000 when it comes up? Because you know that you're only going to do a really good deal. You're not going to subject yourself, your time, your money, your reputation on a property that's not a good deal. It's going to be like that Ferrari where you get to buy it for $50,000 or $150,000, and then you get to sell it for $300,000 as is, right? It already has baked in equity. You're going to look for properties like that. So you are capable. You were scared because you lacked the certainty, but I just showed you how that certainty is within you already. We just needed to find the situation to pull it out of you. Now, as I said, that there are the three things, right? There's today's equity, there's the future equity, and then there's the cash flow. So let's talk about the future equity. Well, there's that Ferrari, and that Ferrari is for sale, but it's not, it's a junker, right? And it needs a $20,000 engine. The Ferrari, because it's a junker, it's selling for $60,000, but it needs a $20,000 engine. So if you bought the $20,000 engine and got it put in, and maybe, so $60,000 Ferrari, $20,000 engine, so that's $80,000, and then you got labor, and so now you're all in for $100,000, right? You're all in for $100,000, but after you put that engine in, now that Ferrari's worth $200,000. Could you find the money to buy the Ferrari, buy the engine, and pay for the labor? If you're all in for 100, the Ferrari's gonna be worth 200. Could you find that? And the answer, again, is of course, because you know it's in there. So deals that you're working on, they're going to be like that. They might be junkers now, but you're going to need to rehab them and bring them up to today's modern standards. And when you do, it's going to have that future equity. You're going to explain your deal as clearly as that. I'm going to buy the engine, I'm going to get it installed, and then it's going to be worth this. I'm going to buy this property, I'm going to rehab it for this, and when I'm all done, it's going to be worth this. Talk to your investors that way. Talk to your future investors that way. Say, hey, look, my business model is where I buy properties like this. They're going to be in the price range of this. The rehab is going to be something like this. And then the value at the end is going to be something like this. You can explain it to them in that fashion and start recruiting potential investors. Right? So you can have those conversations now. You just have to explain it that simple. And people will say, yeah, that sounds really interesting. When you find something like that, you let me know. And all of a sudden, when they say that, you're like, oh, it worked. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They actually said yes. It's really cool. Like I said when I first started this video, one of the coolest things is being able to borrow somebody's money to buy a deal that you invest in. And then that deal pays them back and you keep the difference, right? That is really, really cool. And you can get these soft commitments where they're like, yeah, I'm willing to put in 100,000, 200,000. You can get those soft commitments now before you ever have a deal. Really, really cool. The last one is cash flow. It's very similar to part two where I said you're going to buy the Ferrari for $60,000, buy the engine for 20, put the engine in for 20, so that's 40, 60 plus 40, that's 100, so you're all in for 100. But instead of the Ferrari being worth $200,000, now you're able to rent the Ferrari out for $1,000 a day on one of those car renting services, right? So now you're telling your investor, hey, I have this Ferrari that I can fix up and then we can rent it out for $1,000 a day and I can then pay you back. But I just need that $100,000. Would you be willing to buy it or pay for all of the car, the repairs, all that kind of stuff, right? So you're having that kind of conversation, but it's not because there's equity in the car, but because there's cash flow. Same thing with real estate. Hey, I'm going to be buying this property. I'm going to fix it up. And when I'm all done, I'm going to be renting it out for this. And when I'm done and renting it out for that, I can pay you back with the cash flow. And we can set up a long-term plan where I borrow your money and you're going to get your rate of return for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever they're interested in. And if they're saying like, hey, I only want to lend you the money for 5 years, then fantastic. I'll refinance you and pay you off in 5 years. But in that 5-year span, you're going to be getting your interest. And how are you going to get your interest? You're going to get it from the cash flow from this property. Again, if you have that certainty, then all of a sudden raising capital doesn't seem so hard. Now, question is, why would somebody sell properties for so low? Why is it that there's going to be all this equity now or future equity or all of this cash flow? Why wouldn't they want to do it themselves? Well, there's the 4 Ds: death, disease, disaster, divorce, right? People are going to die, death. People are going to get sick, disease. People are going to have their houses get hit by Mother Nature, disasters. And people are going to break up. So you got divorce. So the 4Ds are going to happen to people. And when those things happen, a lot of times they just want to get rid of whatever it is that they have. They don't care to be in the business. Their life is in shambles. They're not thinking like, oh, I'm going to fix up the property. I'm going to put that Ferrari engine in and then I'm going to rent it out on whatever service, right? They're not thinking that. They're thinking, I got this major life problem that I'm dealing with. And the last thing I'm going to think about is this. This property here, take it. You want it? You want to give me 100 grand for it? It's worth 300 grand after it's all fixed up. I'm not going to fix it up here. Just take it for 100 grand. I used to think like, why do these properties exist? Why would they sell them for so cheap? You really want to know why they will? Because it doesn't matter. because they do. That's it. You can try to figure out why somebody would do it. I don't know why the people sold me the properties that they've sold me so far that had all of this equity, but that's not my business. My business is, are you going to sell me the property? I make them an offer. And then if you haven't caught the video yet, I just released a video on how to make offers. Go find that in my YouTube, right? I make them an offer. They agree to the offer. I buy the property. All is happy in the world. Happy for them, happy for me. It's all good. It happens all the time, every single day, no matter what market you're in. It could be the hottest market ever. Like today, we are in 2021. The real estate market is through the roof. Prices through the roof. It's the hottest market ever. And I am still finding deals. Why am I able to find deals? Because people are dealing with the 4Ds. Interestingly enough, the most recent properties that I just bought and am going to buy that I'm under contract for, those properties, one of the deals that I'm thinking about, death. Another one, divorce. So there's a couple of D's already, right? That happens all of the time. People are dealing with life situations. Don't try to figure out, oh, why would anybody sell? Why wouldn't they do the deal themselves? Because all you're doing is you're talking yourself out of it. Don't do that. It doesn't help you. So just keep on looking for properties and make offers and get the offers accepted. Now you have this deal that you can actually talk about to an investor. Oh my God, I just got this deal. This person just inherited the property. The owner of the property died and their kid got it, and their kid doesn't care about real estate, willing to sell it to me at rock bottom price. I can put a couple bucks into fixing it up and then we can flip it for this high price. Would you be interested in being a part of it with me and then funding it? Right? All of a sudden, it sounds like that Ferrari deal. So that happens. Just go out there and gain that confidence. Figure out that confidence and maybe just work that deal out in your head. Work out the Ferrari situation in your head. Ask yourself the same question. If I found a Ferrari for $150,000 and I had a buyer for $300,000, can I find the money for it? If the answer is yes there, then you can find the money for real estate because it's the same exact thing. Right, same exact thing. So that should help you guys when it comes to raising money. If you're scared, if you're stuck, just go back to that Ferrari question. Can you raise the money if you had a situation like that? All right, guys, if you guys are looking for more ways to get out of your funk and get unstuck if you are stuck, check out the Hoan Zone community. Go to hoanzone.com/community. There you will be involved in different conversations and different trainings so that you get unstuck, and this way you get closer to your goals, get to your goals even faster so that you can actually live the life that you want while you're as young as you already are. All right, guys, if you haven't already done so, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. New videos come out every Monday and Wednesday here on the Hoan Zone, helping you multiply the assets you own. All right, that is it. I'm Hoan Tai. Let's multiply.